Hello, and welcome to another episode of Bible Stories and Wonders, where we explore the hidden gems and timeless truths of the Bible. Today, we're embarking on a journey into the world of messianic prophecies, those incredible predictions made centuries before the birth of Jesus that pointed directly to his coming. Have you ever wondered how prophets could predict so many details about Jesus' life before he even existed on earth? What is it about these ancient words that continue to resonate with believers today? In this video, we'll take a closer look at 5 prophets who spoke of the Messiah and the prophecies they made that still leave us in awe. We'll cover Isaiah, Micah, Jeremiah, Daniel, and Zechariah, exploring their backgrounds, their most significant prophecies, and how each one connects to the life of Jesus. Let's get started. We begin our journey with Isaiah, one of the greatest prophets in the Old Testament. Isaiah lived around 700 years before Jesus, during a time when the kingdom of Judah was facing both internal turmoil and external threats. His writings are filled with messages of hope, judgment, and most importantly, the promise of a coming Savior. Isaiah is best known for his messianic prophecies, which paint a picture of a future king who would bring peace and salvation to humanity. One of the most famous prophecies is found in Isaiah 7 verse 14, which says, "Therefore the Lord himself will give you a sign. Behold, the virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel." This verse is remarkable because it speaks of a virgin birth, something miraculous and beyond natural understanding. Christians believe this prophecy was fulfilled when Jesus was born to the Virgin Mary, a miraculous event that marked the beginning of a new era in human history. Now, let's dive deeper into another of Isaiah's prophecies, found in Isaiah 53. This chapter describes the suffering servant, a figure who would take on the sins of humanity. Isaiah writes, "He was despised and rejected by men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. He was pierced for our transgressions, he was crushed for our iniquities. The punishment that brought us peace was on him, and by his wounds we are healed." These powerful words are seen by Christians as a direct reference to Jesus' crucifixion. Isaiah's prophecy not only foreshadows the suffering that Jesus would endure, but also highlights the purpose of his sacrifice, to bring healing and forgiveness to all. How does it make you feel knowing that Isaiah described Jesus' suffering in such detail so many years before it happened? Do you think he fully understood the impact of his words at the time? Next, we turn our focus to Micah, a prophet who lived during the same period as Isaiah. Micah's prophecies were directed towards the social injustices of his day, but he also had a vision of hope for the future. One of Micah's most remarkable prophecies is found in Micah 5:2. "But you, Bethlehem Ephrathah, though you are small among the clans of Judah, out of you will come for me one who will be ruler over Israel, whose origins are from of old, from ancient times." This prophecy pinpointed the exact birthplace of the Messiah, Bethlehem, a small and seemingly insignificant town. When we look at the New Testament, we see that Jesus was indeed born in Bethlehem, fulfilling Micah's words perfectly. The fact that Micah identified Bethlehem as the birthplace of Jesus hundreds of years before his birth is awe-inspiring. It shows that God's plan was in motion long before the world realized it. Question for the audience: why do you think God chose such a humble town as Bethlehem for the birth of the Savior? What message does that send about God's way of doing things? Our journey continues with Jeremiah, often called the weeping prophet because of his sorrow over the state of Judah and his people's suffering. Jeremiah's prophecies were filled with warnings, but they also contained messages of hope for a future ruler who would bring righteousness and justice. In Jeremiah 23:5-6 we read, "The days are coming, declares the Lord, when I will raise up for David a righteous branch, a king who will reign wisely and do what is just and right in the land." This righteous branch is seen as a prophecy about Jesus, a descendant of King David, who would come to establish a kingdom of justice and righteousness. The New Testament traces Jesus' lineage directly to David, fulfilling this prophecy and cementing his role as the rightful king. Jeremiah's vision wasn't just about a physical kingdom, it was about a spiritual kingdom that Jesus would establish through his teachings and sacrifice. Question for the audience: How does this idea of a spiritual kingdom change your perspective on the prophecies about Jesus? Do you see his kingdom at work in the world today? Now let's talk about Daniel, whose prophetic visions are some of the most detailed and complex in the Bible. Daniel lived during the Babylonian exile, and his prophecies have been studied for centuries for their insights into future events. One of Daniel's most famous prophecies is known as the 70 weeks, found in Daniel 9 verse 24 to 27. This prophecy outlines a timeline that many scholars believe points directly to the coming of the Messiah. Daniel speaks of an anointed one who will come and then be cut off, a reference that Christians interpret as the life and crucifixion of Jesus. The precision of Daniel's prophecy is astonishing, as it seems to predict not only the arrival of Jesus, but also key events in his life and ministry. Question for the audience: have you ever considered how detailed, and specific these prophecies are? What do you think this tells us about the reliability of biblical prophecy? Finally, we arrive at Zechariah, a prophet who delivered some of the most vivid and precise messianic prophecies. In Zechariah 9 verse 9, he foretold, "Rejoice greatly, daughter Zion. Shout, daughter Jerusalem. See, your king comes to you, righteous and victorious, lowly and riding on a donkey, on a colt, the foal of a donkey." This prophecy was fulfilled when Jesus entered Jerusalem on Palm Sunday, riding on a donkey, as the people hailed him as their king. Zechariah's attention to detail didn't stop there. He also prophesied in Zechariah 11 verse 12 to 13 that the Messiah would be betrayed for 30 pieces of silver, the exact price that Judas Iscariot received for betraying Jesus. These prophecies are so precise that they leave little doubt about their connection to Jesus' life and mission. Question for the audience: what do you think about Zechariah's level of detail in his prophecies? Does it strengthen your belief in the divine inspiration of these words? As we wrap up, let's take a moment to reflect on the power of these prophecies. Each of these prophets, from Isaiah to Zechariah, delivered messages that pointed to a future hope, messages that were ultimately fulfilled in the life of Jesus. Their words continue to inspire and challenge us to look deeper into the mysteries of faith. If this exploration of messianic prophecies has sparked your curiosity, don't forget to subscribe to Bible Stories and Wonders for more insightful videos. Like this video if you found it fascinating, and be sure to leave a comment sharing which prophecy surprised you the most. Stay tuned for our next video, where we'll dive even further into the wonders of the Bible. Thank you for joining us on this journey. And until next time, may your search for truth lead you to even greater discoveries.